What a beautiful day. T-shirt weather. It's not quite the beginning of spring yet, but anyway, just thought I'd share that with you, because yesterday it was like minus something, freezing. Today it's just so warm. Anyway, look, progress. This is where I left off on the last video, number 11. Ran out of welding wire. I've got to sort that out. I never did that over the weekend. I basically just sat on my fat arse and did jack shit, really. Now I'll put some blades just to space that out. I'll re-drill, and then I'll put my washers in there and then bolt that all down, crack it down, and make up some triangular gussets which I shall weld into there and up, and then get a piece of flat plate and wind that around, and then weld the other plate on top. I make it sound so easy, but trust me, it'll be a pig, I know it will. So that's where I'm at on that one at the moment. Right, I've now got to sort out the welding on this. So we weld down there, we cut along there, and then we put a plate from there down and then onto here, which I'll cut with my little Rage circular saw. Shan't be doing any more on the back end of this. Let me turn this radio down, hang on. Right, yeah, won't be doing nothing on the back of this for the time being, so I just literally want to get that strapped up, get that part of the subframe, which is these bits, fitted, and bolt that down, and then I shall turn my attentions back to the engine, because I'd like to get the engine in. Once the engine is in, I can then sort out that door frame there, get that all built out, and then we're definitely ready to start the body work. Looking forward to that bit, sort of. This is where the shape of the vehicle takes place. Once I've got the framework in for that, I'm going to return my attentions back to the trike. Last year I spent more time off the road with that thing than I did on the road, and I've sworn blindly that this year it's going to get fixed properly, ridden, and if I end up spending any more than 1 month off the road with it, I'm selling the damn thing. It's going, and I shan't bother with trikes again. That'll be the end of it all. So there you go, to the next video. Right, I've put those triangles in. 6mm plate on top, 6mm on the side, 6mm on the other side, welded in onto the main chassis structure. That part's done. That one is done. I've also drilled, welded the bolt onto the back, so they're now supporting the subframe. What I'm going to do next is make up a plate to go over the top of this that can bolt in through the side, because I'm not fully convinced that bolt on its own will hold. I mean, it'll bend, but I can't see it snapping, and I don't want to take any chances with this. So that one's next to do, and I've just got to trim off the back part of the bolt and weld underneath, because I haven't welded under the underside yet. And then we'll move on from there, really. And then it's a case of capping off those blocks down there, and then we can start the framework for the body to go on. Wasn't going to show you this until the welds are ground down, because the welds are a little on the embarrassing side. But it just demonstrates, I was going to say that anybody can do anything, but it just demonstrates I can't fucking weld for shit. If it come down to the crunch. Anyway, look, this is where I'm at. I've put some washers over, I've welded them in, I've bolted the bolts down. It's now perfectly aligned all the way around. Those jigsaw blades with the spacers, I have got literally about a 1mm gap between the teeth and that homemade flywheel. That adapter plate. Then I got the insert that was cut out from the adapter plate and welded a little ring around it, because I cut this a little too short. This bit here wasn't quite long enough and it needed to go on square, so I ran a ring around that. Then I welded on some spacers along there, just so that this outer ring would sit smack on. Man, these welds are bad. I shouldn't be showing you this. Anyway, that's where I've got it so far. The next thing to do is to just grind down these areas here, because I ain't got one of them bloody rolling machines that you use for making circles up, and I had to do this using whatever I could find that was round, mainly a wheel. And this is the best I got, and I ratchet strapped around the main ring and then pulled it in as tight as I could, brought it down to those steps that I welded in there, and welded it as best as possible. The excuse I've got for shit welds is the metal's case hard. How's that? and my nibs need changing, and my shroud's knackered. There you go, that gets me out of that one, doesn't it? Well, unless you're a hardcore welder, then probably not, but I don't really care, to be honest. It's strong. That ain't going to break in a hurry. So next thing to do, grind down that bit so I can get this to sit level, because at the moment it's a little bit off. Once I've done that, then it's a question of cutting across there and down a little bit. That's for the clutch unit to go in. I don't know how far I'll be cutting that. I might even end up going right the way across. At the moment, I don't know. I've also, once I welded that on, got to make a cover to go over the starter motor, so I can then trim all of this off anyway and just put a half tube around that. That will sort that out. Suspension isn't sitting properly at the moment, so all this extra weight play havoc with my fuel consumption, but it will bring the springs down. So this is not a bad thing. That's a 10mm plate. That's a 10mm plate. This is what we're looking at here, probably about 3mm. That's a real pain to bend as well, I might add, and it is generally case hard metal for some reason. In fact, the stuff that my mate gets me that they use to make boilers with or something, that's a harder steel than the average mild. I don't know what grade it is. I'm not even going down that road because I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Anyway, handy Andy, thanks for your help. I'm truly grateful, because without you I'd be screwed. Well, without you I reckon that BMW one would have gone back in, to be honest. So there you go, that's where we're at. We won't concentrate too much on them welds. Moving on. Right, as you can see, it's done. It's all fitted, it's crude, very crude, but it works. You have to excuse the background noise, we've got a storm going on here. Apparently it's already claimed a few lives, but there you go. Next plan of action is to bolt it down to the engine and then drop the engine in the frame and see if it will fit without having to cut the bulkhead again. Nice and strong. I did grind down some of them nasty welds and redo a few of them just to get a bit more strength and a little bit more evenness, but it's not easy. CO2 is what I use, not argon, so it don't come out as good. I ain't used to it. Arthritis don't help either. Bloody agony holding that trigger in for long periods of time, but there you go. Quit complaining and we'll get it in. Hopefully you'll see it in the engine bay without any more bloody problems. I just hope I ain't got to cut that bulkhead, because that's going to be a nightmare if I have. Right, it's kind of in. As you can see, it's in place. I had to cut a bit of the bellows in the way because it was hitting the bulkhead, but I suspected that might be the problem. See, that's there, and we'll go inside the cab area. That's located on the gearbox mounts quite nicely. Not too bad for what I've done, I think. However, this was set up for that BMW, and one of the problems I've got, which I've got to resolve, is down there. If you can see that cross member is hidden. So we'll leave the hoist in place and do the mounts at a later date. The wind is just too much at the moment. I'll jack this thing back up in the air as best as I can and get a grinder on there and start hacking that out. I won't be removing the cross member, but I will put a slight slant in it so as it clears the top half of that, sorry, the bottom half of that bellows and sump. But here we go, look. Don't that look good? Look even better once it's all been reconditioned and painted up. Oh well, we've got another problem there as well. That exhaust is hitting that, so that mount's going to have to get cut as well. Won't be using those. Yeah, pretty pleased with this. Only had about 8 hissy fits with it and chucking hammers across workshop and generally just losing my temper. Got there in the end, and I checked and triple checked the input shaft against the bellowsing, and it is millimetre spot on. I mean, I'm quite impressed with myself because I got that pretty close. was it 6 centimetres from the centre to the outer edge, and I got that all the way around. Bearing in mind there is a little bit of play in that output shaft, but I'm pretty pleased. That's dead centre, so it shouldn't give me any problems. I will have to remake the spigot bearing because I didn't do a very good job of that. That's got about 1 millimetre play on the end of the shaft. Well, that's no damn good, so that'll have to get hammered out and a new one made. But other than that, we're going good. Right, engine is in. I couldn't do the welding properly because the lance is busted. Pick the arc welder up, and I haven't been able to finish these mounts off properly because of that. But as you can see, it's all in. I've got good clearance all round. But that has given me a few more extra problems. I mean, if you remember in one of the video clips, I was doing the brake system as a remote servo. That's now completely out of the window. Nothing will fit. So I spoke to Chris Corker this morning at Vosa, and I asked him about running rods, because the reason I ring him is sometimes when I put questions up on forums, you get the know-it-alls come in that heavily criticise what you're doing. You can't do it like that, you don't know what you're doing, and you just get fed up of hearing them, to be honest. So I don't tend to put questions out so much anymore, if at all, on some occasions. And I rang old Chris up, and basically what I want to do is run a rod from here all the way to about here. So it's rose joint to rose joint on a bearing held lever. So one rose joint goes on one lever, and there's another lever there in the same direction of pushing. That will then push the clevis onto the servo, and the servo will be tucked in here somewhere out of the way. And he said as long as it's not snagging anywhere, or the risk of snagging, as long as it won't bend when you put your foot down, as long as you don't get chassis twist that affects the brakes. What else was there? There was something else. I can't. Oh yeah, maintenance. You can get access to it for maintenance, and nothing falls on the rod that will stop the brakes from working. There is no reason why I can't go there. So that's probably what I'm going to do. This bracket's not needed, so I think I can wedge it in there, and I think that's a better place to put it because it's away from the manifolds anyway, and it's closer to the front wheels. Problem number two, I had a 20 quid bet with my son about this. I shouldn't say problem because he might be watching this and then throw that one at me and say you owe me 20 quid. Predicament number two is the suspension. Because I brought the steering so far forward, that's given me a wheelbarrow effect in the form of lifting a, you know, when you've got long handles on a wheelbarrow, the wheel's right at the front, you've got the load in the middle, and then you've got big handles at the back. That helps spread the load to make it easier. Well, that's what's going on here. I've got all this weight on there, and it hasn't touched the suspension one little bit. Nothing's moving. It's still pretty solid. So I'm going to build this thing up, and then I think I'll do the springs right at the end, because at the moment, as you can see on this one, it's hitting the frame there. That's no good. So I'll either, if that doesn't adjust as the weight goes on, then I'll have to get smaller springs, or I may look at doing a coilover setup on it, remove the springs completely if I can do that. I haven't checked up on this yet, but maybe remove the springs, cut this section away here, yeah, and then plate it off inside, and then on the original mount down there put a coilover in place, or make a new mount somewhere else. But again, not looked too hard into this at the moment. So yeah, we are there. It's in, it's clearance all round, the mounts are heavy, the box is clearing it. There you go, just about. It's all in. So what's next on the agenda? Well, this is the last film for this video. I'll do another video, and I think that one will be demonstrating the bodywork. So I've got to finish that off that side. That's all got to be fixed, and then I can probably start with the rear body, which I've been looking forward to doing, because that's the main, that will be, that demonstrates where I'm going, you know. It's, oh, how can I put it? It doesn't matter how I put it, I'm just looking forward to it. Oh, got a tractor grill coming as well, cast iron, bloody great heavy thing it is. That'll help put some weight on the front. A bit reluctant on the weight side of it, but it's needed. I'm not going to go with wings on the front like I was planning to do, put them straight mudguards on that. I don't need a bumper, As long as there's no protruding sharp edges at the front, I'm allowed to do that apparently. So no bumper. I might put something in front of the chassis bit here, just a little chrome What's-It going across, but that pretty much sums all I'm doing now. The grille go in. I'm still going to fill the sides in because I have to, all the way along there, and the bonnet will go on, but the bonnet will probably come off possibly after the IVA if I end up doing that. Depends really what DVLA say, don't it? Although this should be IVA'd. End of story on that one. Just before someone comes in and starts moaning. There you go. That's it.